And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day committed to being your consumer advocate. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our goals are to educate, entertain, enlighten, and most importantly, we want to help you win in any marketplace. We do that through an educational process, interviewing 50-plus show partners, expert contributors. We'll have the mayor on the show. We'll have the sheriff's department represented, all types of different local or national celebrities from time to time. But the core of this show is bringing on our expert contributors here, local business owners, authors, speakers, different types of folks that we're interviewing on a daily basis to help you understand more about your buying decisions, making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife, Lindsay, and I own and operate a top real estate team here. We're actually out of the number one office for the entire Mid-Florida regional MLS out of all the companies for the Tri-County area. Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, our office is number one, $630+ million in volume last year. So we'd love to help you with any of your real estate, buying, selling, or investing, of course. Give us a call at 813-670-7372. You can call or text our hotline at 813-670-7372. Getting a lot of calls lately, people wanting to find out more about, the government programs, the PPP, different types of cares, the programs available. People wanting to find out about real estate, what's happening. Yes, it's an essential business. We are making deals happen. We're still getting things done. Credit improvement, identity theft, lots of ways that we can help you as your consumer advocate here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Let's go around the horn now. We're going to make our introductions. We got Larry Harbolt on the phone, longtime friend of the program, and he's an author and a teacher as well. Larry, welcome to the QB Show, my friend.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Yes, sir. What are we going to talk about today, Larry?
Well, I thought I'd talk about. There's so much we can talk about real estate, but I'm still seeing the market as far as residential real estate hasn't died yet. So I wanted to make reference to there are some things that I think some people might want to think about staying away from, and other things that I think would be good for the market right now.
Perfect. Going to help us identify some opportunities and also some potential ways that you might want to stay away from. So I like that. We also have Ray Hall Appraisals on the Quarterback Show today. Ray, what would you like to discuss, friend?
Well, let's talk about, Larry said, what's going on in the market right now. A lot of people are kind of fearful right now. And, just want to tell everybody what I've been seeing. As an appraiser, I'm still busy. And, with some things, I think it's time for people to have a call to action, but be cautious in other ways. So I'd like to just give some advice on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Giving us a helicopter view of the market, doing a lot of appraisals every month, every year. So you kind of see all the different counties. You're seeing the different property types, residential, commercial, vacant land. And I know you're a great resource for us and our team when it comes to valuing properties. And also, Ray always cautions, be careful when you make your offers. Make sure you're working with a strong buyer agent who knows the comps, understands the market. So Ray Hall Appraisals, we're going to ask him some more about some of the market trends here in Tampa Bay real estate as well. And rounding out our expert contributor panel, last but not least, Eli Gonzalez. He's the godfather of ghostwriting. Welcome to the show, sir.
Brandon, thank you for having me again, my friend.
My pleasure.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I want to start off by saying I wished I had invested in Amazon and Zoom, I'll tell you. But today I'm really going to talk about digital products. There's and when it comes to writing, right? So there's a lot of people out there with a lot of knowledge. They sit down to write, yet they're unproductive. They're frustrated, so they quit. And before this pandemic, they've been thinking, when I have more time, I'll do this. When I have more time, I'll do that. You have the time now. So I'm going to give you guys some hacks. Those of you who want to write, get your ebooks out there. Take this opportunity to provide solutions for folks and get ahead of everybody.
That's right. Yeah, no excuses now. There's no excuses for some of those resources. You say, "Oh, I've got a lack of resources. I don't have the time." Well, now you do, and then you look at checking away those boxes of excuses. Just like Tampa Bay has no reason not to win this year with Tom Brady coming, right? That's right. All right, good stuff. So we've got a great panel lined up for you today here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Before we jump into this great content, I want to just thank one of our sponsors. It's Golf Cart Depot. They do a great job here in Tampa Bay providing these awesome carts. They got Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman, both pre-owned, remanufactured, and new golf carts available over at their Land Lakes location or right here in Clearwater off of 19 in Pinellas County. Golf Cart Depot. They are open. And they are also delivering golf carts directly to your home so you can test drive at home. Say hello to Marty and his team over at Golf Cart Depot. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And I love my beautiful Keller Williams red. We just got it wrapped thanks to Bob Burmaster at Image 360 graphics. We got the beautiful graphics on there with the Keller Williams red and the Consumer Quarterback Show information on there as well. So when we're out using ours, we use it commercially. We're out door knocking, going and being a part of our communities and getting out and meeting people, of course, not now during the COVID-19 scare, but Golf Cart Depot, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings that we just took. These are brand new listings to the market. This property, it's 520 George Street South in Tarpon Springs. This is a gorgeous waterfront right on Lake Tarpon. Beautiful property. We just did a price reduction as well. $499,000 buys you a large home on the water with a separate mother-in-law suite, a separate structure as well. And it's right on Lake Tarpon, which is a 2,500 acre lake. Lots of bass fishing out there, lots of opportunities to get out there and enjoy the beautiful waterfront. There's restaurant on Lake Tarpon as well, the Tarpon Turtle. So a lot of fun that you can be had out there, lots of boats out there every day. 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs. We can set you up with a private showing today. 422 Wildwood Way in Bel Air. This is another great opportunity in the middle. It's a golfer's paradise here. If you're a golfer and you lived in this Bel Air area, you know that there's some high-level golf courses around. The beaches are right around the corner. If you check out the beautiful aerial photography compliments of Fabre Frameworks, they do such a great job with our real estate photography and video walkthroughs, virtual tours, more prominent now as well. Two-story home right here in Bel Air at 422 Wildwood Way. The owner put $130,000 into upgrades and renovations and lush tropical landscaping as well. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And feel free to reach out, of course, if you'd like a comparable market analysis on any of your real estate properties. We'll help you get honed in on a value check there for zero cost on a comparable market analysis. All right, let's go to Larry Harbolt here. Larry, small business, hospitals, they are still struggling. And also you got your Real Deal podcast we'd like to mention as well.
Okay. Yeah. See, what I'm seeing today is the residential market. I'm not seeing it slow down to any great degree yet. But what I'm worried more about is the people that want to buy these smaller strip malls. Because with this shutdown, a lot of these little businesses, they're going to go out. They're going to go out of business. And if you bought the place and you're used to the rent coming in and it's no longer coming in because you can't replace it, especially if it needs work, I don't think that, in my opinion, for myself, that's not the best investment for me to look into at this time until the market's back up thriving, and then we can fill those units with these smaller businesses.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm glad you've got Mr. Hall on, is because a lot of people that are going to be trying to sell their house because of financial issues in their life here in the near future, a lot of them get the idea of what their property is worth because of what someone else is doing or a real estate agent told them. But one thing that I think is critical for anybody listening to this that is going to sell their house, you've got to remember the location of the property and the desirability of the property are going to be two critical factors.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the simple reason
Yep.
If you're not in the best area, you're not going to get the $1 million price. And if there's no desirability for the buyer coming in, you're definitely not going to get your price. And the only true way to know value is to have an appraiser tell you what the property's worth. Spend the money. Find out what it's worth before you put the price out, and then have to do 10 reduction in prices. And then that takes all the sizzle out of the marketing for the property.
Great point. Absolutely. Especially when you're going into a market shift like we are entering into now. We had great times. We were booming along, and then COVID-19 changed the whole scene in the real estate space. And we already still had low inventory here in Tampa Bay. So we look at those different factors that Larry had mentioned. You look at pricing the property close to where the comparables are, the previous sales and the sales comparable approach. And there's a lot of variables. You're going to look and see, is it a wood frame versus concrete block? How many square feet, updated kitchens, those types of things sell. So when we come back, we're going to talk with Ray Hall Appraisals. I'm going to have him elaborate a little bit more on those values and what people are seeing right now and what's happening here in Tampa Bay. He also has a special offer for, I believe, 3 to 5 of our listeners. If they do want to have a check, he has a special offer for a reduced cost. Owner's use appraisal is what he calls it. Also, more from Larry Harbolt. We got Ray Hall Appraisals, and later in the show, Eli Gonzalez. Going to talk about some digital marketing and ghost writing and how he's been able to do that for us as well. And we're writing a book with him right now as well. So stay with us. We got a great lineup for you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online. We would love to connect with you online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, Brandon Rhymes PA on Facebook. Of course, the Consumer Quarterback Show has a page, and Platinum MVP Team has a page on Facebook as well. So we'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week of 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore.
Yes.
To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and changed them.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, you know, we're one of the only states that don't give them back their right. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And even as Sisters Connected here, you know, with Women Unscripted, I know
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Want to give a big thanks to all of our frontline workers out there, the truck drivers, the small businesses that are open and supporting, everything out from the nurses and doctors on the front lines, the military veterans, people that are involved in the front lines, donating. Great time to be donating and doing that random act of kindness that we always talk about. So we appreciate everybody that's reached out to the show as well. We've had an uptick in calls lately. I really appreciate all the listeners who are calling and checking in and listing their properties with us, supporting the show, supporting our show partners. We greatly appreciate that. Of course, it's the Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 50 plus show partners, 80 categories of consumer advocate content and advice, ways that we can help you live a better life and avoid a lot of the commission-based advice that's so prevalent out there in our communities, online and in person. You find it in a lot of places, that commission breath that's so prevalent. So we're going to help you avoid a lot of that here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I want to let you know about a couple of hot property listings that we've got here. Some opportunities here in Tampa Bay. I've got 1410 North Betty Lane, which is a commercial car wash. It's a cash flowing opportunity for investors. 1410 North Betty Lane in Clearwater. This is a 3-bay car wash. Owner says it's kicking off a lot of cash, $300 to $500 a week in cash coming off this property. Great opportunity to add to your investment portfolio. Owner is motivated. Also got some vacant land on Harbor Drive in Clearwater. These properties are available. They're side by side. You can put 9 units. So any developers, builders looking to build, you got waterfront right here in Clearwater, right on the Pinellas Trail, just off the right, butting up to the Pinellas Trail. Bay access right here in Tampa Bay. Check out Harbor Drive and let us know if we can help you with any information. Reach out at platinummvpteam.kw.com. You can see all of our listings there, or give us a call on our hotline, 813-670-7372. That's our off-air line at 813-670-7372. And now would be a great time as well to reach out to Replenish IV Solutions. If you want to get a vitamin infusion drip directly into your bloodstream, it's a great time to do that. Everybody's looking out for their immune systems right now. Vitamins, minerals, electrolytes. Myers cocktail is my favorite. I get the Myers. I add a little extra zinc into mine as well. They do a great job. The nurses are very when you go and sit down with them, you're just comfortable. You're sitting in there, you're getting an IV, and they are awesome to work with. Vitamin infusion drips, Replenish IV Solutions. Say hello to Stephen and Lisa Gunn and let them know that the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, so we've got for this segment, we're going to talk with Ray Hall Appraisals. Now, Ray is a highly respected appraiser in the Tampa Bay area, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Ray, what's going on in your real estate world? What are you seeing out there?
Well, people are still buying. We've had a little bit of a slowdown since last month. But last month was kind of a record month for us. But just to give you a little statistic, I just looked up here on the MLS, my neighborhood, which is up in the New Tampa area. So last month, the median sale price in this zip code was $283,000, whereas now the median sale price for April, which is when we've been going through all this really heavy, is $315,000. So back to what Larry said, the residential market really hasn't taken that big hit yet. I tell people, if you've been thinking about refinancing, now might be a time that you want to get that done, especially if, you're looking to cash out on some equity, because, we're still looking at comps from the past 3 months. 3 months from now, things are probably going to be a little different. Purchases are going to probably slow down. In fact, I was listening to a show this morning where they were even saying they're not expecting, those big declines like we saw in 2008. This is a different reason for the slowdown. This has to do with the complete black swan outside influence. It's not because of over leverage like it was back in 2008. So people are buying, people are out there. I just did an appraisal this morning for a new purchase. So, we're still looking good.
Yeah, that sounds good. We're seeing a lot of similar stuff. We had a low inventory market in the first place here in Tampa Bay. There was a lack of inventory. Buyers are getting frustrated, multiple offers on houses that are priced properly. Let's talk about that. I think that's an important part of it, is when you look at for sale by owner properties, or even people that are willing to work with an agent, they have a situation where if they say, oh, well, I want to price it a little bit high and then we'll come down if we can. Talk about that strategy and how that might not be the best way to go.
It's definitely not the best way to go right now. You're going to want to price that fair, because the longer your house is going to sit, the more risk you're taking as to when that property is going to sell. In a really hot market when everybody's buying, maybe that's not as risky as an approach. But right now, if we start to see a decline in values, you're just going to be so much further from what the fair price is. You're going to be so much further from what people are willing to pay. So now is the time. You can't price it like it's a seller's market anymore. You need to get a good estimation of current value, because if you need to sell, you want it off the market quick, and pricing it high isn't going to do that for you. And because you might not be getting the showings that you were getting 6 months ago. So, have somebody come in, have an appraiser come in. Like I always say, we can do those restricted use appraisals that are for the homeowner only. I charge $150, and it's an appraisal on your house. And I even have software now where I don't even have to come to your house. I can send you a link. You can send me the photos. You can send me all of the information, and I can prepare an appraisal done with the interior, and the values based on that. So, we definitely have tools available to us now to do these kinds of appraisals and keep everybody safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking with Ray Hall here, Ray Hall Appraisals on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's offering a $150 owner's use appraisal. So the difference there is not your traditional $400, $500 that's going to be underwritten to the banks and also ultimately the end investor, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, et cetera. So Ray, you can offer this type of a owner's use appraisal because it's not as detailed or stringent on some of those criteria.
Correct. It's only a couple pages long. It does have comparables in it. It does have that analysis. The appraisals we do for the banks, you have to understand a lot of that appraisal is because the bank doesn't see the house, we do. So we're just reporting a lot of information that the bank wants to know to help assess their risk when loaning on that asset. I may have talked in the past how appraisers, our basic guidelines is what we call USPAP, the Uniform Standard of Professional Appraisal Practice. And it doesn't require us to go out to an appraisal or out to a property. We can certainly prepare these appraisals based on the interview we have with the homeowner. Even we can go out and still look at the house if you'd like and do still a restricted use appraisal. So there's a lot of different products that we can provide for different uses. These products that I'm telling you about right now are when it's just for one person to look at to know what their house is worth. It's not being used to negotiate a sale price. It's not being used to get a loan or negotiate with an investor. It's just to give you a peace of mind of what your house is worth.
Right. Yeah, and it's such an important process of the financing side is getting the deals done when you look at placing a property on the market. And Gary Keller wrote he's got different models in the millionaire real estate agent, the millionaire real estate investor. There's different models, and one of the chapters in his book called Shift that he wrote with Jay Papazon, Dave Jenks as well. Gary Keller, of course, the billionaire owner of Keller Williams Realty, is Market Shift. And one of the whole chapters is dedicated to, it says, price ahead of the market. So pricing ahead of the market is important, especially when you see a potential shift. Now, how much of a shift do you think we're going to see here, Ray? Pull out your crystal ball for us here. I feel like we're in such a great area, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. There's so many influences on why, Palm Harbor, Bradenton, Sarasota, Riverview, all these different great areas to live in Tampa Bay. You have, state income tax, the absence of a state income tax, affordability's there, jobs are still there. Hopefully, with COVID-19, we'll see how that shakes out. But so many people now, I think even more and more, are going to be moving from some of the bigger cities where COVID-19 took over the whole city so fast, like we saw with New York, for example. What do you see happening in terms of values in Tampa Bay going forward?
Well, that's going to depend a lot on duration of this as well. It's going to be, if this is over in a few months, hopefully not a big impact. But that is a good point you're making, that up in the Northeast, they're getting hit really hard with this.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, I haven't known anyone yet who's tested positive for COVID-19. Now, my sister who lives in Massachusetts knows several people who have been diagnosed and one person who passed away from it. So it's just a different kind of mindset down here right now. Another benefit we have is we have a huge population of retirees.
Right.
And a lot of them, when they're retired, they're going off their fixed income, their Social Security. A lot of them have pensions. I know, my parents worked in the day where you got a pension, and they're still getting that income. So that could be another feather in our cap, that we have such a high population of fixed income people who aren't going out to work every day and are still getting their income. So that could help us out as well. I know my mother who lives in Port Charlotte is looking to sell her house right now. And she's not too worried if she sells it or not, because it's really not impacting her financially like it would, say, myself, if all of a sudden they stopped ordering appraisals.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good estimation of what we see happening, the way things will shake out. Who knows? We'll see once we get through this. Hopefully, we're shorter period of time than we anticipate here with the COVID-19 and things getting back to some sort of normalcy here. So stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, we're going to talk about digital marketing. We're going to talk about potentially writing your own book and what your story would sound like with Eli Gonzalez, Godfather of ghostwriting, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, our feel-good story of the day. This boy wrote a poem about his autism. Now he has a publishing deal. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Danger Your Star.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember now. Ask him to me about
to be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50+ show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm a top real estate agent here in the Tampa Bay area, top 1% realtor in the area. We'd love to help you with your real estate buying, selling, or investing. Any expert advice. Also, I'd like to be your super connector and put you in touch with any type of professional that you need here in Tampa Bay. White collar, blue collar, real estate, credit, finance, estate and tax planning, self-defense, nutrition, all types of great areas that we can help you with, many different home services, of course. A lot of them are on that real estate financial wheel of the real estate with those spokes extending out, representing our preferred partners. But we've got a lot of expert contributors that are outside of the real estate space. So we'd love to talk to you. 813-670-7372. Now more than ever, it's important to support local businesses, local companies that are supporting, of course, Salem Communications. We're supporting so many companies here throughout the area. So we'd love to talk to you if you are buying, selling, or investing, looking for any type of solutions, of course, in that, what we cover. Check out our website, consumerqb.com. That's updated with all of our expert contributors, their partner cards, their information's there. You can also submit an email form that comes directly through to us or reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372. That's consumerqb.com or 813-670-7372. And we always want to pitch our listings, let you know a little bit about what's happening in the market. So 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. This is a gorgeous office, freestanding building for any business owners looking to get out of a lease, own your own building. 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. Large conference room. You got a small kitchen there, fenced in, security systems. Great opportunity to purchase real estate, and you've got signage on Hillsborough Avenue, which in a normal economy would have between 40 to 50,000 cars driving by daily at 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. Also, we just listed 19206 US Highway 19 in Clearwater, 19206 US Highway 19 in Clearwater. Now, this one is a corner lot. It's currently operating, and it's got a lease in place from a reputable auto dealership throughout the entire Southeast, and it's a great buying opportunity here in Tampa Bay, investment opportunity at 19206 US Highway 19 North in Clearwater. Listing compliments of Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Check out our website, platinummvpteam.kw.com. And we are going to talk with Eli Gonzalez now. We're going to talk a little bit about how folks can take control of their financial future. They can, utilize a lot of what people call, I like to say, Eli, everybody has their own story. They have their history. And I think everybody has a book in them. And the Godfather of ghostwriting, Eli Gonzalez, joining us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Yes, Brandon, absolutely, man. Everybody does have a story. What's really big right now is being authentic. Having people connect with you. You are your brand. But if people don't know your story, you're no different a plumber than the next guy on my Google search. You're no better of whatever it is you do than the next person on the Google search. When I ask for a referral on my Facebook for anything and I get 20 names, you're no better than any of those names if I don't know your story. If there's not a way that I can go and find out about you, what makes you tick, what's your passion, why do you do what you do, how do you help people, right? Where did you come from? Without knowing that, there's no connection. And so loyalty, customer loyalty is a few different ways. You got to produce value at the right at the right price. But then there also has to be a human connection.
Right.
So in order to have, if you're a realtor, right, in order to have a family of people, you sell to the husband and wife, they love you. You sell to their kids, they love you. It starts to grow to the uncles, and they have kids. Then you stay in the game long enough, their grandkids. In order to have loyalty like that, people need to know you, know your story. And right now, there's no better way for anyone to know your story than by writing a book about your business. And it's going to be different than any other book out there because this book will have your personal story.
Right.
Here's things that you do differently than anybody else. And I tell you, in this day and age right now, the world has changed. A lot of people are saying it's never going to go back the same. I'm not a seer. I can't see into the future. What I do know is that digital products is where it's at.
Yeah.
So get your book out there, get an ebook out there, use what God gave you, and that's your own personal story, your own challenges and triumphs, and get clients.
Yeah, I like that idea. We're talking with Eli Gonzalez. You can find him online, godfatherofghostwriting.com. And I've worked with him on a book in the past. I'm working on a current book with him right now. And it's really unique. It gives you an opportunity to position yourself as an authoritative expert. But not only that, you're digging in deeper onto why and the why behind it, the why behind your mission, your company's mission. And you're trying to help as many people as possible. And if you feel a strong moral obligation to give back, like I do in the real estate and credit and finance space, that moral obligation to give back means, hey, let's try to help as many people as possible. And this is one great way to do that. Now, Eli, what if some people say, oh, well, I just don't have the time? Of course, they're going to go through their list of excuses, right? Is that one of the biggest ones you find is, oh, I don't have the time to do it?
Yeah, that's definitely it. I don't have the time, or I'm not sure how to go about doing it. Those are the two biggest excuses that I hear.
Right.
Well, and as of right now, for most people, that time excuse is done. Now their only excuse is, I don't know how to do it.
Right.
And that's a valid excuse. Someone can be an expert at what they do, but they've never written a book before. They might have written blogs, theses, and they're probably good, clean writers, but they don't know how to take the reader through a journey that the reader's going to find satisfying, the reader's not going to want to put down. That's a legitimate concern. So the biggest mistake a lot of people do when they start to write a book, Brandon, is they start to write the book. And then what happens is they don't have an outline, right? They don't have anything to follow. And sooner or later they write themselves into a corner.
Right.
And they become unproductive. And that gets blamed on writer's block. Hey, Mary, how come? How's your book going? Oh, I got writer's block. To that end, I'm actually finishing up a course, an online course on how to defy writer's block and be extremely productive every time you sit down to write. Whether it's your book, whether it's your blog, whatever it is. I've been honored to be chosen 85 times to write a book for people as a ghostwriter. I've got 85 published books as a ghostwriter. I've co-authored 5 books, and then I've authored 2 books. So I have 92 published books out there, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of words that have been published. And I got to tell you, I've never seen writer's block. And you would think with as many books as I've written, I've encountered writer's block. I haven't. And so we're finishing up a course that people can find. And I have a free webinar on my page, godfatherofghostwriting.com. I go for 40 minutes teaching how to never suffer from writer's block again. And the people that don't follow the script, they end up quitting. And the number one reason why people have gone to the grave without finishing their book, people that have started it, they blame on writer's block. And so we're demystifying what it is. We're demystifying what it is, and we're teaching people how you can not beat it. Beat it means you're going to fight it. Beat it means that you're going to see it. How to never see it and become much more productive every time you sit down to write.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When it comes down to those types of goals, if it's a strong enough goal and you have the right reasoning to do it, then you got to have certainty that you will get it done. And when you do, you're stacking all those reasons why. And the reasons comes first, answers come next. So then when you have the right reasons, you're going to be able to have that in place. So Eli, the ghostwriter, the godfather of ghostwriting here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, we've talked a lot about the ability to write your book, the ability to develop online courses. I've developed an online course as well, the Business Growth Celebrity Academy, where we're teaching, how to grow your celebrity, focus more on the radio and TV side, like we developed with our show that's syndicated on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku now. So there's a whole world out there. If you haven't really thought about this or how this could play out, and Eli, this works for all different types of professions, right?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what business you're in. No matter what business you're in, you have some kind of competition. But when you publish a book, you become an expert. Now, a lot of business people think, Brandon, well, I know someone who wrote a business book. It didn't do much for them, so I'm not going to go through it. And the problem is how you leverage things. I could have $100, you could have $100, and we could both spend it a lot differently. Whereas the way one person spends it, a lot more valuable than the way the other person did, right? So just because you may know someone who wrote a book and didn't do much for them, don't think that that's you. Maybe they use their book as this glorified business card. And I know a lot of people that do that. Oh, I have a book, it's like a glorified. Listen to me. A book is not a glorified business card, right? A glorified business card can't teach anyone. It can't motivate anyone. Mm-hmm. It can't inspire anyone. It can't make someone cry, right? There's no strong call to action. You need three things to be really successful with a book. You need the right book, the right plan, and the right team. And that's what my publishing company does. We don't just work with anyone. We work with people that want to get on stages. We work with people that want to get on media. We work with people that want to generate more income by having a book.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. It's a great strategy. You're able to utilize the media, as you mentioned. You're going to be more likely to get interviewed by Fox News if you're an author than not. I mean, there's a lot of ways that it's going to open up doors for you in the business world and beyond. So Eli, the ghostwriter, Eli, godfather of ghost writing here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And when we come back, we're going to jump into our lightning round. We're going to have Larry Harbolt, Ray Hall, and also Eli Gonzalez going to be jumping in and talking about top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, our feel-good story of the day. Find out about this boy that wrote a poem about his autism, and now he has a publishing deal. Find out right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com. All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties, maximizing the exposure in ways that no other company can, helping our sellers profit more by utilizing our innovations with radio and TV and social media marketing, internet marketing to help our sellers profit more, sell faster for more money. A couple examples here, 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes. This is a developer's opportunity. builder's dream right here in Land O'Lakes. What we've got are lakefront lots available, 8 total lots, 5 of which are right on Bell Lake in Land O'Lakes, which is a ski lake. It's a fishing lake, 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes development opportunity. The lots are already in place. You've got the entitlements in place. Great business development opportunity here in Tampa Bay for a builder developer. And also 260 Lyndhurst Street in Dunedin. This is a beautiful property in Dunedin, Florida. It's a large home, and you're walking distance to the Fenway Hotel. And also down at the end of the street, you've got the Intercoastal Waterways. Take in the gorgeous sunsets that Tampa Bay has to offer at 260 Lyndhurst Street in Dunedin. Also has a mother-in-law suite, which would be great for a rental. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. This segment is brought to you by wholebodyfuel.com, the official meal delivery service of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Is these meals are delivered directly to your home or office, and I love it. Every week I have a new batch of excellent food. Chef Brian Adamo and his team, Kevin and the whole team, they do a wonderful job over there. These are convenient, healthy, and delivered meals directly to your home or office, and I love it. Every week I have my new batch delivered, and I carry it with me, or I'm rushing around through appointments. I have it there. It's ready to go. Wholebodyfuel.com. They also have the world famous protein donuts. Make sure you let them know that the Real Estate Quarterback Show sent you, the quarterback sent you, and take them up on the special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we got an all-star lineup for you today, guys. We've got Larry Harbolt. He's an author, a teacher here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He has his podcast as well, the Real Deal podcast. Ray Hall Appraisals, Consumer Quarterback Show, expert contributor in all things real estate value. And then Eli Gonzalez as well, the Godfather of ghostwriting. All right, let's jump. We're going to talk about our feel-good story, and we're going to come right back to our lightning round with our expert contributors. All right, so we got our feel-good story of the day here about a boy that his poem about autism, and now he has a publishing deal. So pretty cool story here. 14-year-old boy's poem about autism that touched the lives of millions of people is being turned into a children's book. Benjamin Guerreau, who was diagnosed with autism at age 8, wrote the poem I Am Odd, I Am New when he was 10 years old for a school assignment. Benjamin's father, Sonny, said he kept him home from school on the day he was supposed to read this poem to his class. Quote, he felt that it wasn't good enough to read to, and that the kids would laugh at him for sharing, his most personal feelings, Sonny said. Benjamin's dad said the poem brought him to tears, and that's when he decided to share it on Facebook. The poem has been read by millions of people, translated into more than 21 languages, and has even been turned into songs. Publishing is currently turning the poems into a children's book. Quote, I'm really excited. I'm most excited to see if it gets into my school library, Benjamin said. So pretty cool story there about how a kid overcoming autism and, being a positive light for others. I love our feel-good stories of the day here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So word on real estate, real heavy on real estate here on the show today, and also a bit of marketing and ways that you can, write your own book and write your story, tell your story to the world. All right, so let's go with Larry Harbolt. We're going to jump into our lightning round here, Larry. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Larry Harbolt, how are you, sir?
I'm good. The thing that I think is going to be most important in the coming months, as an investor, I look for opportunities. Mm-hmm. And everyone I teach, all of my students, I teach them look for opportunities, not just price. But there are so many different variables that show you opportunity that can lead to a good property, good profit, that understanding that you need to be able to recognize the opportunities, and especially what we're going to be seeing in the future here because of what's going on. I think if people will take the time and just stop and think about what they're looking at and just not throw dollars at deals, I think they're going to do better deals. They're going to end up making more money, and they're going to end up helping more people. that might have a problem in their life.
Yeah, I like that. That's because as an investor, a lot of times people go right for, okay, what's the price? But you talk about a lot about, and you teach. You're a renowned instructor for many, many years now. You teach, look for the opportunity, and a lot of times it's in the terms, not just necessarily price. So Larry Harbolt coming up here. Let's go to Ray Hall. Ray Hall Appraisals. Top tips, sir.
Top tip right now, if you're going to be listing your house, get that a professional opinion on the value. You don't want to use guesswork. If you are having some problems, go to your bank. See if they're offering a forbearance agreement if you've been impacted by COVID-19. But most of all, now's definitely not the time to overpay for your real estate. Make sure you are getting a good value. Look for good deals. Like Larry just said, that's going to be key right now. Going into high-priced real estate at this point in time could be disastrous 6 months from now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Ray Hall, RayHallAppraisals.com. And a great point is reach out to your servicer. If you're in a position right now where you're not sure what's happening, you want to communicate with your servicer, whoever you're making your payments to. It might not be necessarily the mortgage broker that you did the deal with or the bank, because sometimes those servicing rights get sold. But if you contact them, we're hearing a lot of people are getting forbearance, like 3 or more payments basically put to the end of the note. So they'll wrap those around on the end of the note, giving you ultimately cash flow is what we're all looking for right now, is cash flow and the benefits there with the lack of payments. All right, Eli Gonzalez, the godfather of ghostwriting.
Yeah, so I want to mention that poem. Wow, amazing poem. That kid was authentic. He wasn't afraid to share. He wasn't afraid to not look cool, and it changed his life. It got published, and now because of that, he's going to change other people's lives. And that's what it's about. That's what sharing is about. Right on. My last tip is it would to be, no matter what business you're in, look at what digital products you can provide. Like really, that's only summed up into a few things. You can either write a digital product or videotape a digital product. So how can you get in front of people, but to provide value, right? To connect with people, not so much to sell, but to say, hey, this is who I am. I'm here to serve. This is where I come from. Maybe you can relate. I'd love to meet you one day. Let me know how I can help you. And instead of just using digital marketing to just blast away at your product and your pricing, use the internet to let people know who you are. And if they like you, they feel like they know, like, and can trust you, you have a very good chance that they will do business with you.
Yeah, right on. That's a great point. When you look at it as far as being authentic, so many times you hear, the skate word lingo is don't be a poser, right? Don't pose like you're doing it. You hear stories of people hopping the fence to private airports to get pictures by planes and act like it's their plane and their jet. So I think so many people now are resonating with what Eli was mentioning there, is if you are authentic in your messaging and you're authentic and you really own who you are and your brand, I think that's going to help you tremendously. It's going to help you shine through and find out, those types of people that you resonate as a client of yours to help you grow your business. So be real, be authentic, and get the word out through ghostwriting.
And if I may, on Instagram, right before this show, I have this little setup in my bedroom. So on Instagram, I did a story and I showed it. Yeah. Hey, I'm bootlegging it right now. We got this pandemic. This is who I am.
Yeah.
So be real. Use social media to be social, not to be a superstar. To be real. People will follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Larry, I want to go back to Larry Harbolt here, author, teacher, podcaster. Larry, when you say look for opportunity, give us some tips here. What are some opportunities potentially that we might want to look for? What are some keys to that?
Well, as an investor,
yep,
I always look for the more unloved properties, because I have to have what's known as value add. I can't pay top dollar for a property. It's because I'm a keeper. I want to keep them as rental properties. If I pay top dollar for a property, I won't be able to cash flow the property or cover the costs. So I need one where I can put a little money into fixing it up and get my value from that, which allows me to raise my rents, which will allow me to be able to better cover the cost of the property and hopefully put a few dollars every month in my pocket to give people a nicer home to live in, so the tenants will stay longer. So I look for opportunities of properties that are a little bit unloved. That way I can usually get the work done a little bit less expensive than a typical homeowner.
Yeah.
And by doing that, I add my value. I don't try to pay top dollar for properties because there's no future in it as a landlord.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Check out LarryHarbolt.com. I want to thank Larry Harbolt. I want to thank Ray Hall Appraisals, and Eli Gonzalez, Godfather of Ghostwriting, here today. Of course, our producers, our listeners, everyone else there out there making it happen. We greatly appreciate you. And those that are reaching out, we really appreciate you calling and texting our hotline, the 813-670-7372. If you want personal introductions to any of our expert contributors that you've ever heard on the show, we'll put you in contact with them. 813-670-7372. Call or text. And also, please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing. Lots of food banks are open right now. The time is now. The need is highest that it's been in recent memory. So we would love to talk to you and help you with your real estate business. Of course, any of our 80-plus partners here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.